Time for the Bears. They're under new ownership. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers announced his purchase of the franchise after scoring a touchdown at Soldier Field last week. His friend Tom Brady, who we were just talking about, wanted to pass along his congratulations.
I wanted to say congrats to Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, not only a great quarterback, but I guess he's now a shareholder of the Bears. He was, I saw a clip of him really enthusiastically telling the crowd how happy he is to own Soldier Field. And it's really great stuff. He owns the Bucs now, part owner of Soldier Field. So he's got a great career beyond football.
Brady likes to troll Rodgers. Might be one of the only guys who can get away with it. He does not own Soldier Field, however. Remember this from last year in Soldier Field? Brady forgetting what down it was? That was a strange moment in the career of the greatest of all time. But this game is not at Soldier Field. It's in Tampa, where the Bucs rebounded nicely from last year's loss to the Bears and won the Super Bowl. They're 5-1 to start the season, and the Bears are 3-3. Really could use a win. Louis Riddick, how do the Bears pull it off?
Yeah, this is a tough assignment, Dan. I know that right there is breaking news, but it's a tough assignment. And I think first and foremost, they have to limit the explosive plays on the defensive side of the ball going up against this Tampa Bay offense. And I think Sean Desai, the new defensive coordinator in Chicago, is a name people need to get familiar with because he's a disciple of Vic Fangio and someone who head coach Matt Nagy loves. And in order to eliminate some of those explosive plays, not only do they need to play good in the back end, but Khalil Mack, we already said that he got him twice before as far as when he played against Tom Brady. He's going to have a huge game. He's going to have to make sure that Tom is uncomfortable. Because if you can do that, if you can make him uncomfortable and play that too high safety scheme and play that umbrella type of coverage in the back end, then you've got a shot. Then it's up to Justin Fields in this offense to manufacture some points against a secondary that continues to be beat up, but maybe can be exposed with some deep shots of their own down the field. But this is, without a doubt, this is a tough uphill climb for the Chicago Bears.
Bart, can they pull it off?
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head, Louis. They have to, air that thing out. Tama's going to prepare to stop the run. We know they stop the run better than anybody. They have those two massive tackles in the inside. Pierre-Paul is great at setting the edge. You have to air it out, right? You have to try and get explosive plays. And you have to switch it up. You can't throw on predictable downs. You got to throw on non-predictable downs. Taking first down shots, getting them off his spot, maybe some trick plays. You got to have a couple gadgets in. First play after 50. All the things that we know about, if they can execute that, maybe they have a chance. I think they can slow this offense down on the other side, understanding, too, on the defensive side of the ball for Tampa, they're down to the backup, to the backup, to the backup.
D. Wood, how do you see it?
Well, listen, obviously it starts on the defensive side of the football. With the Chicago Bears, they're going to have to, like Lewis talked about, limit the explosive plays. They're not going to be able to hold down Tom Brady, this game. They possibly slow him down. But I think the bigger point is they can't game manage Justin Fields. When you're going up against an explosive offense like Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, you're going to have to score points. And so with that being said, the weakness of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensively is their secondary. You're going to have to take chances. You're going to have to do, you have to break tendencies that you have on offense, throwing on early downs, utilizing your athletic quarterback outside of the pocket. You're going to have to do some of those things to try to beat a team that has one of the most explosive offenses in the league.
Jeff, you're covering this game for us this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. What are you watching out for?
Yeah, I look at this game the same way that everybody else does in terms of the quarterback pressures that could come from the Bears. And I think this is the sneaky type of game that could really impose a lot of trouble for Tom Brady, just given what Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack have done to start this year. So, I do not think that this is a walk in the park. And also, we can get to this, but Antonio Brown dealing with an ankle injury now. He's been a key weapon for Tom Brady. So if he's out, that's problematic. The good news for the Bucs, Antoine Winfield, looks like he will be back in the secondary, which is a much-needed boost. So, look, yeah, I understand why the Bucs certainly still should be favored in this game, but I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park by any means.
Louis, final word on this.
Yeah, look, it's all about quarterback disruption. The NFL always comes down to that. We know that. And it's really about which one of these quarterbacks is made to feel the most uncomfortable in the pocket. Tom Brady, look, as good as he is, and he's the greatest of all time, and he's taken that team to new heights down there in Tampa. When he's uncomfortable, the game changes for him. We also know that explosive plays cause you to win and or lose football games. Chicago has to limit them. Justin Fields has to produce them. Whoever can do those things, make the other team's quarterback uncomfortable, and limit explosive plays while getting them, has the best chance to win. Sunday football is always about that. This game
Back on offense, I love what the Ravens are doing. They have the right mentality. I'm buying the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, so now we know who's going to win the AFC. Lewis, the Cardinals are going to win the NFC. Are you buying or selling that?
Yeah, I'm buying it. And look, I talked about this. Look, they have a nice leadership structure on this football team internally in the locker room now, with guys like A.J. Green, with guys like J.J. Watt being brought in the offseason. And on top of it, they have superstars on the perimeter. They have a superstar at quarterback. They have good players on the second level on the defense. They have playmakers in the secondary. Look, this team right now has got it going on for good reasons. It's a very good time to be optimistic in the desert.
Ravens, Cardinals, an all-bird Super Bowl. You heard it here first. Bart Scott, Dak Prescott will win the MVP award. Buy or sell?
I'm going to sell it. Dak Prescott's going to have an amazing season. I think the Cowboys win their division. But you really can't deny that force, that Mandalorian baby Yoda that's going on in Arizona right now, what he's able to do. He was an MVP candidate last year, and he kind of tailored off at the end. But now he has better weapons around him, surrounded by a good defense. They're probably going to be a force and a threat to win the Super Bowl. I'm going with baby Yoda.
And a strong company synergy from Bart Scott. All right, speaking of Dak Prescott, the Cowboys are on bye this week, which is a good thing because Dak injured his calf on the final play of Sunday's overtime victory in New England. Cowboys have said they're optimistic that he'll be okay to play in Week 8 against the Vikings, but there's still at least some question. Here's what former Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman thinks.
The great thing about playing quarterback relative to other positions is unless you just can't throw the ball, something's wrong with your shoulder or elbow or something of that nature, then you can manage the injuries a little bit better. I guess as the calf's not going to be 100% in 2 weeks, I don't see it impacting him other than potentially his ability to scramble. They've got so many weapons and such a great offensive line and everything else. I mean, he doesn't have to scramble, so they'll get around that just fine.
All right, so Troy's not worried. The Cowboys have said they're optimistic. Bart, what do you think? How worried are you about this latest Dak issue?
It's a nothing burger right now until it is, right? Because you understand how valuable that calf is. And what you worry about is compensation, right? You don't know if this is a response to maybe, the stress that's been put on from the surgery. We don't know if he's compensating. His gait is different. We don't know if it happened on during the quarterback sneak. You worry about, the calf moving up maybe to either down to the Achilles or up to the hamstring. I'm going to monitor it. But right now, today, it's a nothing burger.
How about you, D. Wood? What are you watching when they come back next week?
Well, listen, part of his game is predicated on movement. He's second in the league in passing outside the pocket, only behind Mahomes. So, when you're talking about scrambling, moving around, guess what's involved? Your calf, okay? When you're throwing the ball, when you're playing your foot and throwing the ball down the field, guess what's involved? Your calf. This is not like a knee injury where you can throw a brace on it and you keep going. When you talk about these soft tissue injuries, these things tend to, get bigger as time goes on. So I'm not going to go in full panic mode, but this is something that needs monitoring, no question.
Lewis, if he is limited or affected by this, what impact do you think it has on that offense?
Well, I think it has a significant impact, simply because of what he had already talked about, which is his ability to throw outside of the pocket, and not just because he's scrambling for his life, but because that is something that is a part of their game and something that Dak instinctively will do, just to try to get a better vision down the field, change the launch point on his own. And look, I think quarterbacks, I'm going to give Troy the benefit of the doubt, obviously, because he's one of the greats to play the position, and he understands what it takes to play the position better than anyone. But and in football, even at the quarterback position, you're not just standing there stationary. You just don't always sit in the gun and just stand there and then hand it off or throw it from a stationary position. There's still instantaneous movement, spontaneous movement that you can't really calculate and can't really, monitor and manage in a way that would, keep you from maybe re-aggravating that injury. So I'm going to